Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, February 3rd. It is 6:23 right now. We got market opening up in about 7 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. Good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Sent out. We are good to go here. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. Let's go to the daily time frame. To the 8 hour. Down to the 4 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15. Down to the 10 minute. And back down to the 1 minute here. Sorry guys, good morning everybody. Today is Monday, February 3rd. It is 6:26 right now. We have market opening up in about 4 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is right here at 44,047. This is probably going to get hit pre-market, which it just did. Next level right here is going to be at 44,088. Closest level below is going to be right here at 44,023, 22. These are probably going to get hit pretty soon too. Pre-market as price kind of bounces around. As you guys saw in the chat from last night, we had a huge dip from market open. So looking over here on the 1 hour, prices dumped pretty heavy from Friday close. So market opened up over here, or it closed right here Friday, and prices dumped about 731 points. So I mean, we'll see what happens here on open. Obviously Trump has implemented those tariffs against Mexico, Canada, and China. It's kind of causing a little bit of a frenzy here in the market, but we'll see if the market recovers or not. I mean, I guess we'll kind of have to see what happens here. Maria's asking, morning, do you have a huge gap at Asia Open? I mean, it's got to, if it's gonna swing back up, it's got a pretty long way to go. So this is where market opened up. It's got 600 points to go. I wouldn't really pay too much attention to that, guys. The gap's not, it doesn't have to be filled. So just because there's a gap there doesn't mean it has to be filled. Price can continue dropping. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. Because there's no catalyst here to push price up, right? The price has dropped because of the tariffs. Unless Trump Mexico and Canada come to some sort of agreement today, today's the last day. It's like a last minute agreement. If they don't come to some sort of agreement, the tariffs go into play and they go active tomorrow. So if that happens, it's not going to be good for the market because everything's going to go up. Like everything's going to be expensive, basically. You know, we're already in like super inflation. We're going to go into hyperinflation as we enter this trade war. So I would just, just analyze market as is. Don't think that just because prices dropped, it has to recover, because it doesn't necessarily have to recover. So just keep that in mind, guys. You don't want to be swayed because of what's happening behind the scenes. That's the last thing you want to do, because if you're only looking for buys here, you can miss out on some good sells. So, all right, guys, we got market opening up in about 2 minutes. Looking at the breakout for today, the breakout currently looks like a sell. If this closes with a buy signal, it might be a buy. So we'll see what happens here shortly. Yeah, exactly. Sam said, boom, boom, agree. Gap can be filled later, some day, some year, some month. Exactly. This gap could take a long time for it to get filled. So I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath. A lot of things can happen from now until then. So the breakout for today is looking like a buy, actually, guys. If you guys are looking to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys. I'm not going to take the breakout still. I'm not convinced that the market is moving efficiently yet overall. But the breakup for today is going to be a buy, it looks like. So if you guys are looking to take that, feel free. I would mark up the market structure bias, but the problem is it's going to be way too far out. So it's probably going to be irrelevant today. This candle here is pretty big, guys. If this candle closes too big, above 50 points, typically we do the opposite and flip it. So just keep that in mind as well, guys. If this candle closes more than 50 points, our typical move is to flip it the other way. So market's opening up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the breakout for today is supposed to be a buy. Typically I would flip it, but the breakout for today is a buy. So I'd flip it the other way for a sell. This candle here was just too big. So if you look over here, typically if this is usually what happens. If the candle right before open is way too big, you do the opposite for the breakout. So it's up to you. If you want to take the regular breakout, it was for a buy. If you wanted to flip it, it'd be a sell. Looks like if you flipped it, it came down about 50 points already. So I would have just sat out of the breakout for the day. But if you guys want to enter late, you can still enter late. You can put your buy stop or your buy limit order just hanging out right here, waiting for it to come back up. As soon as it comes back up, you can fill it and then ride this up. But obviously, you can expect a lot of manipulation today. All right, let's get back to our main chart. So our main chart over here, this liquidity got knocked out. So I'm going to take this off right here. This liquidity got knocked out as well. This over here also got knocked out. And these two over here are getting knocked out as well. It's just a crazy move today, guys, because of the open. So I wouldn't really mess with a lot of, I would wait for the market here to stabilize a little bit and then start looking for entries. So these liquidities over here just got hit already, pretty much like 7 levels of liquidity right here. They all got knocked out pre-market and on the opening candle. So I'll wait over here and we will start to look for entries once the market here has kind of stabilized a little bit. So looking at this right now, the breakout looks like if you waited for it to come back and refill, it's currently running in profit. It's running in profit right there. Or if you flipped it the other way. So if you flipped it the other way, you would have hit 50 points. If you waited for it to swing back up, it would have filled right here as price pushed back up, and it's now pushing into profit even further. I don't think I'm going to mark up the market structure bias because it's just, it's irrelevant here. It would be this entire area. So there's just kind of no point to draw the market structure bias. If I was to draw the market structure bias, it would be from right here. And it would cover this whole area. So it's, it's kind of pointless. So I'll just leave it as is. There's not going to be a market structure bias for today because of this big drop on open. We got liquidity marking up over here. All right, so these liquidities got knocked out pretty much. I'm just waiting for here to market to stabilize a little bit. Then I'll start looking for some scalps. I'm okay with taking buys here, but I'm not going to take it right away. So the MPS V2 might be coming up shortly. We did have a buy signal here. There still hasn't been any retracement. But I'm probably not going to take the first push because this thing here has already pushed up about, let's see, from this low over here. Price has pushed up 285 points. Pretty big push up. It's due for retracement. Once this here is retraced, then I'll start looking for some possible scalps. All right, looking over here at the clean chart. Again, the clean chart is going to be kind of irrelevant right now as well because price has just pushed up so high. It's currently sitting at this 44,300 mark. You can see price here is having trouble getting past it. So the consolidation might happen between this area right here, but we'll see. 44,300, 44,250. Looking over here at the SR chart, there's probably going to be no zones around this area. Yeah, it's too far up. Let's go over here to the 1 hour. It was like really laggy today. Let me refresh it. Looking for some SR zones over here on the 1 hour, but okay, there we go. So looking at this, price rejected off this support. All right, I think that's good. I'll mark up, I guess, this one right here. Go back to the 1 minute. All right, so this is the range right now for the SR zones. The support right here, price came up, bounced off the support. This was established on the 1 hour time frame. So 1 hour support over here, support turn resistance, and looks like price is coming back down as we speak. So, all right, we'll see what happens here shortly. Price is retracing down. I don't really see any confluences here for me to take any scalps yet. So if you guys are looking to take some scalps, I'd probably hold off and wait. I'll say the buyers have been in control since this point right here. We have news coming up at 6:45. So just something to keep in mind. 6:45 right here, high impact news. We got high impact news at 6:45. It's S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, high impact news. We've got ISM Manufacturing Employment at 7 o'clock and ISM Manufacturing PMI. So we got high impact news events at 7 o'clock and 6:45. Just things to keep in mind. So right now, like I said, the buyers were in control. Price is starting to retrace back, so the sellers might be back in control over here. I don't see any confirmations yet of price really showing that either side is in control. I think this right here is just market manipulation on open. So right here on open, well, price obviously pushed up. We had price push up. There was no engulfing, no V1 variations, no reversal patterns here indicating that, one of these sides are in control. So the buyers obviously pushed price up. There's no confirmation of it holding back up higher. Right here, it looks like the sellers might be back in control. However, there's no confirmation of any price action reversal patterns here. I don't see any V1 variations. I don't see any engulfing patterns. I don't see anything here indicating that, okay, this specific direction is in control. So we'll keep watching for it here. Here's the opening price. You guys also have to keep in mind that this is NFP week. So expect the craziness to happen in the market. Like I said, just be patient, guys. You don't have to enter trades right away. It's Monday. It's also NFP week. So let the market kind of stabilize, let it do what it needs to do. Once it's kind of shows its direction and it shows where it's going to go, then at that point, start looking for some entries. But right now, we just don't have that. So I'll just sit back and wait. Obviously, you can make profits here by taking some really risky entries, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just wait for the market here to stabilize and move a bit more smoothly. Nikki said NFP question mark. Yeah, this is the first week of February, right? So it's NFP week. First week of every month is NFP. So NFP is this Friday, February 7th. So this week we have a lot of news. Obviously, NFP week is like the most manipulated week of the month. For today, we have a lot of inflation news. Tomorrow, we have JOLTS job openings, high impact. Wednesday, we have ADP employment change, high impact. ISM global services, ISM business activity, PMI services, also inflation news. Thursday, we have jobless claims, initial jobless claims, 4-week average, continuing jobless claims, all the jobs data comes out. And then, of course, Friday's NFP, non-farm payroll right here. So, yeah, it's NFP week. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, NFP week is like, if you guys have been trading NFP, or if you guys have been trading with us at all, you guys know that NFP week is either, there's like 3 ways it can go. It's either going to be really good, it's going to be really bad, or it's going to be flat. Looks like this right here. I wouldn't say it's good or bad, but the breakout looks like it hit. So if you guys did take the breakout and you waited for it to kind of finish manipulating and swing back up, the breakout for today did hit. I mean, obviously, if you took it too early, you would have gotten manipulated. Or if you got in a little earlier, you could have like saved the push down right here. But the breakout did eventually go to where it needed to go for a buy. Because the breakout for today was a buy. You can see over here the buy signal came up at 628, market open, price kind of scooted around a little bit, and then it shot all the way up to its TP. So we will kind of wait and see what happens here. We don't really have any confirmations here yet still. So again, like I said, we had the buyers who push price up right here, have a green bar indicating that the buyers push price up. Then we have the sellers over here pushing price down. So the sellers pushing price down. There's no confirmation of the sellers really being in control, though. This can be just a small retracement, right? Retracement and continuation back up. That could be the case. If that's the case here, then I will go ahead and draw a green line right here to indicate the buyers are back in control. However, we don't have that yet, right? There's no confirmation. So until we get confirmation, I'm not looking to mark up any more lines here. I just need to wait and see. I did see this right here, Sam. I don't think this here is a V1 because it's not on the same level. It's very close, but it's not on the same level. So if I draw a line right here, see how the green bar is a little bit below it? Like I need it to be exactly on the same level. So it'd have to be body, body, or like wick, wick. The reason for that is because you can see price kind of gapped up a little bit right here, or it gapped down a little bit, right? So this means that when price was coming down, the sellers were still trying to push price down, but it ended up getting swung back up. So it's close to a V1, but I wouldn't consider it a V1 specifically. For the sake of identifying reversals. Very close, but not close enough. That's why you gotta be like super OCD with these V1s, because sometimes when you see these little gaps, this little gap means something, right? It just means the sellers were trying to push price further, and that's why the buyers weren't able to just skyrocket it right back up immediately. Right here, it shows that the sellers were still pushing price down, because if it was leveled on the same body, this would have indicated in price action words that okay, the sellers push price down and they start to lose power, right? Because when they start to lose power, the buyers are like, nope, push price all the way back up, and it'd be exactly on the same level. So I try to look at a lot of things from a price action aspect. Also, because we're trading YM, there shouldn't be very many gaps, right? Everything should be pretty efficient. So the gaps mean something specifically when identifying these patterns. Yeah, Sam said, true, scalp 10 pips, trailing hit, and got lucky. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, it's tricky, you know, like it's just little things that you start to notice in the market. Like, for example, here it shows that the buyers and sellers are kind of fighting for a direction. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to draw a range, right? Because that's kind of what's happening at this point. You have a little bit of a range at this point now. So consolidation range right here. The sellers are trying to get in control, but you can see here there's no reversal patterns. Again, I'm looking for a V1 variation pattern, or I'm looking for an engulfing candle. One of those two, those will suffice for confirmation of reversal to the downside or reversal to the upside. I wouldn't necessarily chase this here because this could be a fake out, and then pull back into the range. We dealt with this last week, right? Pretty much the last 3 days of trading last week, we dealt with a lot of consolidation, and then price just ends up consolidating for a long period, and then it ends up faking out. We have another liquidity target up here. Yeah, it's a good thing you pulled out of that, Sam, because price came all the way back down. So smart move right there, pulling out, because otherwise you get caught in this area. Also, there was a sessions right here, so always tricky to be trading in areas like that. So again, we'll follow this through right here. If this ends up dropping further, that's fine. We just don't have a confirmation of the sellers being in control yet. I'm really just sticking to the price action analysis here. Aiden's asking us Barack strategy. Barack strategy did come up right here on this specific candle, but it was right at the session, so I wouldn't have taken it. But yeah, this is an MPS V2, Aiden. We have the sell signal right here, price retraced up. This candle broke below the momentum signal, broke and closed. So since it broke and closed below it, entry would have happened right here at the close of this candle. And it looks like it already hit. Yeah, it went right down to the sessions, actually. So it was right at the sessions right there. I would have taken it if it wasn't at the sessions. And then also, so Brock also confirmed here, apart, it's supposed to be after 6:45. So yeah, like Brock also mentioned, this is another criteria that we kind of look for. We wait for the market to stabilize first. So it's not a sticky requirement, but I do follow with Brock. We don't really look for entries until after 6:45 because you want this craziness to stop moving around. Like, see how it's moving around all crazy? We want this to stop happening, and you want price to kind of move a little more directional, like to the downside or to the upside. So thanks, Brock, for confirming that as well. This was if you're just looking for the setup and you don't care about like the time parameters and stuff like that, then yeah, this would be the setup. But like Brock just confirmed, we wait for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit past 6:45 before we start looking for entries. But nice call right there, Aiden, on identifying that, because that was an entry. All right, we got news right here. I'm gonna mark up news price. So we got news price right here, 6:45, high impact news. High impact news event right here at 6:45 was S&P Global Manufacturing PMI inflation news. Hasn't loaded up yet, but it did pass. It was forecasted to be positive. Not much of a movement there. So again, like we said, guys, the sellers are trying to be in control here, but they're not exactly, they haven't confirmed it yet. Volatility is very high right now, currently at 36 ATR. This looks like it might have tried to be a double body rejection, but I don't really count the double body when it's at a doji. No body on that candle. Yeah, Sam said it's a break and retest zone, looking for a V1 now again. Yeah, I would have looked at this one right here, but it's really hard to tell, Sam. And if it pushes down to me lower, it's going to invalidate this low anyways. So we'll see what happens over these next couple candles here. There's a lot of mess in this area though. So yeah, just invalidated right there. So I would look for another double body rejection, double wick rejection for that reversal back to the upside. If we do get a double body, double wick, I'll mark up a green line here. And we'll start looking for that swing back to the upside. Again, looking at this here, it looks like price is just correcting back down. We have this big push here on open. Price is now correcting back down. I don't necessarily see buyers or sellers in control. Let me take a look at the time and sales real quick. So looking at the time and sales, we have a lot of big buy orders that just came in right now. 6:47. Yeah, right now I got about 20 contracts that came in. Not a lot of big buy orders, but enough to, push price up possibly. Okay, a bunch of sell orders just came in right now. So the sellers are looking to push price back down. There was 20 buy orders at 6:47, and then at the end of the 6:47 candle, we have a bunch of sell orders that look to push price right back down. They're not really huge, but they're coming in clusters. So I'm looking over here at the time and sales. We're getting both buys and sells. They're trying to push price back up. You can see these candles are about the same size. Buyers are trying to get back in control here. It's not enough to really trigger any of my alerts though. I have my alerts to set up only if more than 50 contracts are sent. So if I see a big block order of 50 contracts, then I'll get alerted. But right now I'm seeing a bunch of these smaller orders. So again, right here, price is pushing right back down. Buyers and sellers are trying to control price, but not having too much luck at the moment. Yeah, exactly. Sam said news, so sitting and watching. Yeah, price hasn't reacted to the news yet, so just keep that in mind, guys. The news over here was positive. So S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, it was 49.4 last month. It was forecasted to be 50.1. It was actually 51.2, so it was better than expected. With it being better than expected like that, we can probably expect price to continue up or try to continue up higher if price doesn't move in that direction. Looking at the news later at 7 o'clock, it's also forecasted to be positive. So we'll see. This was positive, so this one's probably going to be positive as well. This pink line is news price. I don't see buyers in control here yet or sellers. So just looking at price action, guys, I don't see any confirmations here yet. Let's see. See if there's any inside bars around here. Trading view is a little laggy today. I'm trying to every time I turn on the indicators, they just don't come up or they take a while. There's an inside bar right here, but it wouldn't have filled. Possible inside bar right here, but it's a buy signal pending. Taking a look at the liquidity. So we got sitting liquidity around these areas. Sitting liquidity, then we have liquidity targets up here. So it looks like price is attempting to get down to this area of liquidity. So if it hits this area right here, it might push down to the target down here. But it's not really having luck right now. It's having trouble getting past this area. So I think what I'll do here is I'll just draw a consolidation zone. That's really what's happening at this moment. So we got another consolidation zone right here. Thanks, Daryl. Yeah, Daryl. Yeah, trading view is messing up on my end as well. Yeah, it seems like it's a little slow today for some reason. I mean, they're having this competition going on. It's called the Leap. I don't know if you guys saw it. I got an email about it last night. It's called the Leap. It's partnered with CME Group. They're running some sort of competition. So I think a lot of people are on TradingView right now. It's causing some lag, which I mean, it's okay. It's just that's happens sometimes. All right, so we got the consolidation right here. Not much going on. So ideally, what I would like to see here is I would like price to break below this area and kind of stay below here, or I'd like price to push back up and stay above this area up here, right? I don't care where price goes. It can go up, it can go down. It doesn't really matter to us. We just want price to kind of be out of this area. This is a whole red flag area, so I'm not looking to take any entries around this middle point. Also don't want to take trades around this point here. But if we do come down a little bit, we have a lot of open space. We have an Asia low sitting down here, but it's pretty far down. So if price does push below, I'm okay looking for entries around this area down here. But we just gotta be patient, guys. Just be patient. You know, like I said, today's Monday. You don't have to force any entries today. Just be patient and wait for the market to come to you. Doesn't matter which entry you're looking for. If you're looking for reversal patterns, wait for that. If you're looking for continuation patterns, look for that, right? I just don't see anything here. I don't see any breakout V3 continuations. I don't see any direction. I don't see who's in control. Looks like the buyers are trying to get back in control, but there's no confirmation here. So if I was to guess, I would say the buyers are starting to get in control right here. Right. If I see a V1 variation pattern or an engulfing candle, or if I see price really push up strongly from this point, then I would say the buyers are in control. If that doesn't happen, then the sellers have been in control since this upper area right here. The only problem from this is that we haven't seen any, actually, let's see. So looking at this right here, this could be a possible V1 pattern. Yeah, it is. It actually is. So looking at this right here, Sam, not sure if you looked at it or saw it, but this is a V1 variation pattern. It was is in between a bunch of red flags here, but these two candles were a double wick. So this green candle right here, this wick was lined up exactly with this one right here. So this shows that the sellers are in control, right? The sellers are in control here because its price has been pushing from this area. We have a sell signal. We have a double wick rejection right here. So the sellers are trying to push price lower. We have one confirmation here. It's just one, very small, not very big to, it's not a big confirmation, but it's enough to indicate that the sellers are in control right now. So the sellers became in control right here. This is a confirmation of momentum. So price came down lower. This is a confirmation of sellers being in control further. So price, there's basically two confirmations here. Not strong ones, but two confirmations at that. Price came down, momentum signal, double wick rejection right here. So at this very moment, I could say that the sellers are in control. Price broke past here. Same pattern from earlier. So if you look earlier, the consolidation right here, same thing happened. We had price consolidate, broke below structure, drop lower, consolidate right here, broke below structure right here, and then it dropped a little further. So the sellers are definitely controlling price right now. There's just no entries for us to take at the moment. If you guys want to take these breaking closes, you can. They're continuation patterns, but I mean, I just don't feel comfortable taking these ones here specifically. I just feel like these aren't, I feel like they're not trustworthy because of, obviously the current market conditions. And then we have news coming up right here at 7 o'clock as well. Hey, Lamar, morning. Yeah, Sam said 44.23 is the area where he'd ideally like to buy. Liquidity sweep right there would be amazing. Let's see, 40.23. Yeah, around this liquidity target, right? Price comes down, grabs liquidity, swings back up. That would be good. And I can see that happening right there too. The only problem is that we have news right here at 7 o'clock. So we got news in 4 minutes, guys. I'm probably going to wait for this news here to pass, and then I'll look for entries between 7 and 8. I don't want to get caught in the manipulation here. Because the thing is, the news here at 6:45 was positive. This is probably going to be positive too. So if they're both positive, you're probably going to get that big sweep that Sam was just anticipating. Right, swing up from here. Yeah, Kate mentioned 3-minute pivot scalps showing, but not taking sells until after it clears liquidity. I still think it might come up. The thinking isn't for trading, need confluence. And these are kind of huge candles, so much risk. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%, Kip. These candles are just too big, right? Especially for your strategy too, Brock. We talked about this. When the ATR is too high, it's a little risky to take your entries because your stop loss is at 30 points. So if each candle here is more than 30 points, one small mistake or one small retracement or pullback, and you can be out of your position. There's a V1 pattern setting up right here, Sam. So this is where the buyers might come back in control. We have news coming in about 4 minutes, so I'm going to wait. But we have a V1 variation pattern right here, double body rejection, and it's engulfing. This is a really good confirmation right here. This could show the buyers starting to get back in control. So again, have the green bar mark up here, buyers push price up, red bar mark up right here, sellers push price back down. And then again, right here, it looks like price is trying to swing right back up for correction. Not one I would take, but I'm just going to mark this up as my confluence for price to push back up from where it's currently at. So we'll see here. All right, there goes that V1 variation pattern. It's too close to news. Yeah, exactly. Christian just confirmed that too close to news. But this here is a V1 variation entry. I already get TP right away too, immediately. 3 minutes till news though, I wouldn't have taken it. 3 minutes till news and we had opening price right here. Yeah, I know, right? 1-to-1 right there, Christian, that would have hit. I mean, obviously you want to go for the 1-to-2, but the 1-to-1 could work here because of the red flags that are in this area. all good. So we will continue looking for entries here, but like I said, we have news coming up shortly in about 2 minutes. This here, if this candle closes as a stronger green candle, it'll be an engulfing for this red candle, and it'll show that the buyers are in strong control here. So the reversal happened at this point where I marked up this green line. Price came down, V1 variation happened right there. The buyers are back in control. It was a V1 variation plus engulfing, and if this candle right here also is engulfing, it's another confirmation and confluence that buyers are in control. Looking over here at the time and sales, a lot of buy orders starting to flood in. All right, so the engulfing actually didn't close, so we didn't get that second confirmation there. What might happen here is price might consolidate until news happens here at 7 o'clock. Like I said, I'm going to wait until the news passes for me to look for entries because I'm just waiting for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit. If you look over here, actually, it looks like this support level is now turning into resistance. So the same consolidation that we drew here earlier, about 10 minutes ago, it's still in control. So it's still relevant here. See how price rejected directly off it, actually. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, if I was to turn off the tools here, market structure is respecting. All right, so there goes the news right there. Looks like the news is pretty strong. Let's check the news real quick and see what happened. So that's so weird. Look at the news here. The news here was all positive, but this thing gave a huge spike to the downside. So obviously manipulation right there based off news. The news was very positive for pretty much every news event this morning, but price has been dropping. So I would be careful. I would be careful with any sells here because, this thing might slingshot all the way back up, kind of similar to what Sam was looking for. Looks like price came down to your point right here, Sam. Grab liquidity, and it's ready to swing back up. So yeah, a little unusual. Well, not really. It's not. I don't think it's unusual. This is just manipulation, right? It's NFP week, so it's kind of expected. Market was going to move a little crazy. But looking at this here, I mean, it's kind of a staircase. So you see how price is coming down as a staircase. Price comes down, consolidates, comes down further, consolidates, comes down further, consolidates, and it looks like it might be time for it to swing back up. Might be time for it to push back up from this point. So there's confirmations of both sides. So we had the buy confirmation right here. This was the double body, double wick rejection. And it was engulfing, and then we had another engulfing right here. See this red candle? This red candle right here was engulfing the other way. So with it engulfing the other way like that, this might show that the sellers actually regained control at this point here. So I'll put a red line right there for this very moment until we have a confirmation that, price breaks the structure, continues dropping. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, exactly. Sam said nice. I wanted to push a little higher, then we'll see. Yeah, 100%. I would just wait because looking at the price action here, the sellers are still in control. I thought the buyers would have pushed price up here, but it was just a small retracement. So price pushed up right here for a small retracement, and then the engulfing happened right here. So it was just a continuation back down. Reversal, reversal, and now price is in this consolidation zone. It's all tricky right now. Very tricky. Yeah, Brock, the gaps. So Brock was asking those gaps are because of the tariffs. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you look at the market open from yesterday, Barack. So if you look at the open from yesterday, this is a huge gap right here that happened from open because Trump implemented those tariffs on Saturday. So the market opened up here from Friday up until Sunday. It dropped about 750 points, and it's still dropping further. If you measure from here, I mean, it's still dumping. So if you measure from this high point here to here, prices currently it's down 713 points. It's a very, very strong drop to the downside. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, right? So what I say is, don't predict that price is going to go up or don't predict that price is going to go down because of that gap. Just look at what price action is telling you. I mean, you can trade in the middle. You don't have to trade above or trade below. You just got to trade in the middle, or you got to trade where you see, price action actually happening. So looking at this consolidation, again, there's a lot of inconsistencies with regard to who's in control right now. So I'm looking at this here. I don't see any reversal patterns to the upside. So I would say that the sellers are still in control at this moment. Right now, specifically, if we're just talking about right now, I think the sellers are still in control. But there's not really much of confirmation. You can see prices consolidating right here. This is very similar to what happened the previous 2 days, right? Or the previous 3 days, actually. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we had a lot of this stuff happen. We had price where it consolidated for like a good 30 minutes to an hour. And then we had price kind of break out a little bit, and then it ended up consolidating again. For this right here, the consolidation is actually very consistent. So we had consolidation, small little push, consolidation, and then it just created a new zone down here. So it just consolidated, came down right here, consolidated, and now it's still going sideways. The most recent reversal that I see here is right here at this candle. So let me draw an arrow. This is the most recent reversal pattern, right? That's why I have the sellers in control right now, because price started to come down. This is an engulfing candle. That's the only thing I can see. I don't see any V1 variations. I don't see any other engulfings over here. So there's nothing here else to look at. Otherwise, if this green candle closes higher up to this area, this could be engulfing. And at this point, I would just put the buyers back in control. Doesn't necessarily mean they're very in control, but at the moment, we'll have some sort of bias to like look mainly for buys at that point. Right now, sells are still on my radar, but like we were saying earlier, there's not much here to work with. So let me just clean this up a little bit. That liquidity got knocked out. We got new liquidity right here. And we just wait. We got liquidity right here too. And we have liquidity right here too. I know it's kind of messy, but I know it makes sense to a lot of people here what I'm marking up. So here's the thing. We got price consolidating very heavily right here. The engulfing did not close. This candle right here showed that it was engulfing at some point, but it didn't actually close. And we still got this consolidation going sideways. So I'll shorten this as it confirms, but I don't see anything here yet. Yeah, Marina said he sold his assets before New York session ended. LOL. I know, right? I was thinking about that. Let me take a look at my long-term investments. I think the only asset that's really weighing me down right now is probably QQQ, which is a NASDAQ basically. Yeah, I'm not down too much. Down like less than a percentage point. Everything else is correcting back up. We have that big drop. The only thing that's really weighing me down is QQQ, just like I said. Because QQQ is I mean, all the tech stocks there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. Like if you guys saw what happened with the AI stuff, obviously that has some sort of effect on NASDAQ NQ or QQQ, depending on what you want to trade. If you guys want to trade like the stock index for NQ, you can trade QQQ. If you want to trade the stock index for, YM or S&P, you can trade the Spider Index. It's there's different ETFs that follow these specific assets. Like if you want to just buy YM, but you can't afford, one future contract, it's like 44,000. you can just buy the spider index, which is like, how much is the spider index? Spider index is 602. So if you can't afford the actual future, you can trade the spider index and you can just hold on to it. Like for me, I trade QQQ instead of NQ, or I buy it and I just hold on to it. So QQQ here is about like 500 bucks per share versus trading NQ, it's 21,000. So there's different equivalents to specific assets. I mean, depending on what you want to trade. And it kind of just depends. Let's see, Sam said, so I so much wanted 1502 to be the V1. Let's see, 1502. Yeah, right here, right? It was close, but again, like that little gap, like, we talked about, it's not exactly on point right there. The thing with this here is that we still don't have the buyer's confirmation. So we don't have any engulfing. I mean, this would have been nice if that was a V1 variation, Sam. That would have been nice because that could have indicated that the buyers were back in control here. I mean, either way, the buyers would be back in control at this candle because this is where price pushed up, but we didn't have that V1 pattern there to confirm it. So this liquidity here got knocked out. Price is trying to get past this resistance right here. Short-term resistance. Let's go over here to the SR chart. Let's see what's going on over here. So price actually bounced off the support down here. This is the 1 hour support level, guys. So this is the SR chart. I have the 1 hour support right here marked up. Price came down, pretty much grabbed liquidity at the 1 hour support, and then it swung right back up from here as we speak. It's still kind of messy. I wouldn't even say kind of. I'd say it's a lot of messy right here. So I'm going to mark up this on the clean chart so we can kind of see where price is consolidating and ranging. It's about a 100-point range. Middle point right here at the 41,000 or 44,100. So here's the consolidation range right here, guys. We have a 100-point range on the clean chart. But price is really just sitting in the middle at the 44,100. So down here, down the middle is where price is actually, it's acting as a magnet. So we have a big range. We have a smaller consolidation right here. And this middle level is the midpoint, which acts as a magnet. There's not too much going on here. I mean, it's really just consolidation within this middle area. You can see here cleaner on the clean chart, looking at the SR chart, price is retesting the support down here. So there's not really much control. Again, right here, as I drew this support resistance area on the, basically not really a support resistance area, it's more of a consolidation zone. I drew this consolidation zone, price here is having trouble getting past it. No reversal patterns here. As you can see, this is not an ideal market to trade in. So I'm mainly looking out for you guys here. I'm not telling you guys to take entries or anything like that. I'm really telling you guys to just sit back and wait, right? 7-11 right now. We still got about we got about 50 minutes till 8. So I don't need to force anything. The ATR is still very high. For this type of consolidation, it's really surprising to see the ATR at like 40 points. It just means that the market's very, very inefficient right now. It's moving, it's volatile, but it's not efficient because it's just staying within this area. We want price to push out of it and push above, or we want price to push below and push down lower. Looking at these candles, see these candles are huge. This red candle right here, 55 points. It's a huge candle. If your stop loss is anything smaller than 30 points or anything smaller than 50 points, the odds of you getting stopped out are very likely. So again, guys, I would just sit tight. No need to force anything. It's NFP week, right? The market's supposed to move kind of crazy this week anyways. So just got to be patient and just got to wait for the market to come to you. So I'll keep extending this out. Once we break out of this area, I'll cut it off like we did over here. But for the most part, let me just turn off these indicators real quick to clean things up. You guys see how messy the market is? So this is just with my markups. No tools, but just my markups. It looks a lot cleaner because you can see where price is kind of rejecting from. I mean, this is super obvious right here that price is consolidating within this area. Stuff back on. Let's take a look at the liquidity. All right, so we got liquidity kind of sitting around this area. I mean, there's a lower liquidity right here. Price is trying to bounce off it. Same area where Sam was looking for that V1. But it is it's messy. Let's see, Lamar said, just took my first extremely tiny but profitable trade on my Apex eval account. Nice work, Lamar. Yeah, if you want to catch the bounces off these support resistance, you can probably catch the bounces off the lower end. I think that's probably safer. But yeah, nice work on getting your first profit right there, Lamar. Profit's profit. Doesn't matter if it's big or small. You build your way up to passing that eval. All right, we have a buy signal right here that's currently pending. Like I said, I think the buyers may be back in control. I would still mark it up from here. So this is where I see the buyers pushing back up. There's no confirmation that the buyers are in control yet, but nonetheless, this is kind of where I see the buyers pushing price up because this is the lowest point. It's the lowest point right here, and then price has pushed up since then. Once we have confirmation, I'll mark it up, but we just do not have that here yet. So looking at the time and sales, let me see if there's any big, not big, but like larger than usual orders. So I see about 20 contracts coming in for the sell side. There's a 2 contract, 3 contract, 11 contract, 3, 2, 2. So I'd say this is sort of like a block order, not a huge order, but it's a block order. They're trying to like funnel their sells in there. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty mixed. There's not really one side that's pushing price in a specific direction. All right. So we are in an inefficient market right now, guys. So that's the easiest way to look at this. Market is inefficient. The volatility is very high. Market is moving, but it's moving back and forth. It's very inefficient because it's not moving out of this area. Whenever you're stuck within an area for I would say about 10 minutes. If price hasn't moved away from an area in 10 minutes, it starts to become inefficient. When it gets to 30 minutes, it's very inefficient. Right? Because price shouldn't be sitting in an area on open for 30 minutes. Like it just doesn't make sense, right? Especially when there's no news coming out. The high impact news already passed. So we had the high impact news event over here. These are all catalysts. I think price is charging up to push back up. I think that's what's happening here. I think what's happening here is they're trying to lure in some sellers. So they're letting price stay down here so that sellers will chase. Because obviously, if you scroll back right here, you see the sellers are in control, right? So the sellers have been pushing price from up here. From basically 632, price has been pushing down. So what I can see here is that they're trying to trap some sellers down here. They want people to chase the sell. And then once they chase the sell, you guys can see there's liquidity that's starting to build up here. So we're getting liquidity built up here. We got liquidity built up down here as well. But there's more liquidity up top. Right? This is why, just everything here points towards a buy. If I see this here, the news is all positive, price hasn't really pushed up. It's going to have to correct back up to knock out this news price and then push up to this target up here. Let's take a look at the other time frames. All right, so looking over here on the 4-hour, 4-hour is currently bearish right now. It was bullish, but because of the big drop on open, it became bearish. So 4-hour is bearish, 1 hour is bearish, 30 minutes bearish, 10-minute is neutral, 5 minutes neutral, and the 1 minute here is bearish neutral. So the lower time frames here are kind of shifting. The higher time frames are obviously down because of the spike from market open, but the lower time frames here are leading. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, there's a lot of conflicting analysis here. If you're just looking at the trend analysis here looks like that it might be bearish, looking at the overall time frames, because the 4 hours bearish, 1 hour is bearish, 30 minutes bearish. The 10-minute is bearish, but it's bearish neutral. 5-minute is neutral, and the 1 minute here is trying to push back up. So obviously the 1 minute here is going to be leading. If the 1 minute can push up strong enough, the 5 minutes going to follow, right? 1 minute, 5 minute, both bullish. 10 minutes probably going to be bullish with these time frames, and the higher time frames would have to follow. But if you look over here, so if you look at any of the higher time frames, let's take a look at the 4 hour first. So looking at the 4 hour here, there's nothing happening, right? Price is going sideways. It's consolidation right here. Right? There's nothing going on. Consolidation right here on the 4 hour. Look over here on the 1 hour, same thing. What's happening here? Price has been consolidating on the 1 hour for hours now, since last night. So since last night, the 1 hour here hasn't moved at all. Let's go down another time frame. Let's go to the 30 minute. So if you look at all the time frames here, the consolidation's actually been lasting for a very, very long time. 30 minute consolidation here, very strong. You know, if you look over here on the 10 minute, this is even, it's crazy. You can see how inefficient the market is. Like we thought the market was just inefficient on the 1 minute, but you look over here on the 10 minute, this thing's been consolidating since last night too, since open. So market open right here. So market open right here at Sunday, it gapped down and it's been in this consolidation zone since. So from the 4 hour down to the 10 minute, you can see the inefficiencies here. It's basically trapping traders on both sides. It's trapping buyers, it's trapping sellers, it's trapping buyers again right here, and it just pulls right back into this range. So it doesn't matter which direction you trade in, you're likely to get stopped out. You know, it doesn't even matter what time frame you're trading on. We're trading on the 1 minute, so we can see things a little clearer. But if you look over here, basically all the time frames show that market is inefficient. Let's go on the 1 minute here. So it looks like for us, we have the small consolidation, right? So here's our main chart. See how we have this small consolidation right here? If you look at it on a bigger aspect, so looking over here on the 1 minute, this thing's actually been consolidating since yesterday. And this is drawn off the 4 hour chart. So this consolidation actually hasn't done anything. That's interesting because I thought we were just consolidating here on the 1 minute, but now that I've looked at it on a bigger scale, this consolidation's been active since market open for the week. So it looks like there's actually nobody in control when you think about it. So I guess we'll see here if there's anything that we can probably pull from here, but it's going to have to be a really tight move. Obviously, it's going to be a really, really tight move because it's consolidating on every time frame, not just the 1 minute. All right, so I guess that gives us some introspect on like what's actually happening here. All right, we'll keep looking. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, there hasn't been any confirmation here of control. So the sellers are still in control. The buyers never really took control here. It's been consolidating. I don't see any reversal patterns, no V1s, no double bodies, no double wicks, no engulfing. Nothing really. This consolidation here has been, but the smaller consolidation has been holding. All right, so this big green candle here is huge. Maybe this is a catalyst that we need to push price out of this area. It's a 100-point candle. Okay, so let me check the time and sales real quick. The crazy thing is that we didn't really have any big orders come in. We have I see clusters of buys coming in right now, but I also see clusters of sells. So it's not just one-sided right now. I'm seeing a lot of buy orders that are starting to flood in now though as we speak. Let me see. I just want to follow the clusters here to see. No, it's pretty mixed. I wouldn't say the buyers are really pushing price. Whoever pushed this up, I mean, they obviously pushed price up super strongly. Looks like it finally broke out of this range consolidation. And it's attempting to climb up. So I think this will be a little tricky. I don't know if you're gonna try to look for entry here, Brock, if you're still in here. I think your entry here might be a little tricky because we're gonna be around all these red flags. I would need price to really push out of this area. Okay, so the buyers here are obviously in control. Put a green bar right there. I think this would be a little too tricky, Brock. I wouldn't take any entries here specifically. We talked about this before too, Brock. If the candles are too big, it's probably better to just hold off. Because the ATR jumped from 30 back to 41. So this liquidity here is knocked out. I mean, these liquidities here are knocked out too. So it's doing exactly what I mentioned earlier, right? I said price is probably going to push up because of the news events. I said this was going to be a late reaction to the news, bullish, and it's going to target this liquidity target up here. So the analysis that I talked about just a few moments ago, it's playing out. I mean, I wasn't expecting something like this though. I wasn't expecting a huge, like, how big is this candle? 120 point candle to push through. And obviously keep pushing from here. Yeah, Sam said, LOL, speechless. Glad the analysis was on point. Yeah, no, it played out exactly. So, like, the thing is, it just didn't make sense for price to keep dropping, right? All the news events here were positive. So I was like, this has to push up. And now looking over here, like I said, the 1 minute's going to be leading. And as a 1 minute leads, everything's going to follow. So the 1 minute pushed up, 5 minutes now bullish, 10 minutes bullish. Everything is bullish now. So there we go. I hit the target like I mentioned. There goes the liquidity target. It did, I mean, the analysis was on point. This was like spotless. My analysis just played perfect. Obviously, I would have wanted to catch it and write it up, but it just did not meet my criteria with all the red flags right here. But yeah, like I said, this is why you have to look at the news, because if price comes down and all the news is positive, there's like, it's going to happen at some point. They try to trap the sellers down here, and then they just push price up super strongly. I'm looking at the time in sales, like, there's obviously someone here who's trying to push price up because they're just dropping clusters of buy orders in the market. I wouldn't necessarily follow it because now that they've made money on this, I think they're going to sell off. So whoever pushed price up right here, whether it's a market maker, institution, ECN, whatever it may be, they probably are going to sell off now. They've made their profit here. They're now looking to probably trap some buyers at this point, and then probably bring price right back down because the target's already hit. So the next target's up here. It's pretty far up, so I'm not really expecting this to be a straight push, right? Probably some sort of retracement, and then maybe push up later. But yeah, this is basically a late reaction to the news event from earlier today. These pink lines right here are the news events. Price came down lower, and then it slingshotted all the way back up. Yeah, Glenn said this market is tricky. I agree. Daniel said these candles are insane. Yeah, when the market's like this, it's honestly better to sit out than to take the risk. I mean, for me personally, I'd rather just sit out. I'd like to watch it from a distance, but not necessarily be in a position. I feel like if you were in a position here, you'd be super stressed out. Like, even if you caught the spike here, you'd probably be stressed out because you wouldn't know what to do next. All right, so this target got hit. I'm going to move this target a little higher. Right there. The ATR is extremely high right now, guys. I would just sit out. I wouldn't even think about taking anything. Unless you have a really wide stop loss. If your stop loss is more than 50 points or like more than 60 points, then okay, maybe take the entry. But if your stop loss is around the 30-point mark, the odds of you getting stopped out are very likely. It's just the ATR is extremely high right now. It's 56. This means that the average of every candle that's passed is around, over 50 points. So let's see, we measure this right here. This candle is about 85 points. This candle right next to it is 73 points. This candle right next to it as well, 50 points. So yeah, I would be very careful about the entries you guys are deciding to take because your stop loss has got to be pretty decently wide. You also got to think about slippage because what could happen here is there might be a big spike down. And if you have a stop order in place, you're gonna get hit with slippage for sure. So instead of having that 30-point stop loss, it's gonna be more closer to like the 50 or 60 if it spikes. So you just want to be careful with like a lot of people like they don't realize that slippage is like a real thing. Even if you're on futures, there's still slippage there. If the market's too volatile, they can't fill you at the order that you want. And the thing is, I'm trading like 40 accounts, so I can't be taking trades with slippage. It's gonna hurt the accounts. All right, so we finally broke out of the consolidation. That was a good thing. Your entry here still hasn't came up, Brock, even if like, even if you wanted to take it, hasn't came up. There's no retracement yet. So it looks like we might go back into consolidation here. Buyers are obviously in control, but we don't have confirmation of the we don't have confirmation of the reversal to the upside yet. So we just obviously have a big bullish push here. What I'd like to see is obviously retracement, confirmation of the reversal, and continuation to the upside. So if this keeps pushing up, I'll just obviously the liquidity here got knocked out, so it's kind of relevant. Consolidated down a little bit, now it's pushing up higher. Small consolidation and bullish push. The crazy thing is that there's not big orders coming in. There's floods of like cluster buys, but there's nobody that's dropping, and we're at the high point now. So yeah, we're at the high point on the time and sales. There's nobody that's like dropping like a 20 contract or a 50 contract or anything like that. We're just having clusters of these smaller buys, like 1, 2 contracts. Here, let's take a look at the order flow, just to kind of see like what's been going on here. So it looks like the sellers are trying to get back in control. If you guys can see this black line right here, this is the point of control. This is where most of the volume is happening. So like, for example, over here on the previous candle, the point of control is up here. This means that a lot of the buying and selling happened around this area. Point of control is like I'm just looking at the order flow here. It's really hard to read because where the volume is sitting, I mean, it's really hard to read in general. I can't read this. Yeah, let me just. Yeah, so I'm looking at the most recent candles here. Like it doesn't really show that the buyers were really controlling the movement because actually no, the buyers were controlling the movement here. So the point of control was up here. There was a lot of buyers up 52, push price up higher, 81, 83. 79. Yeah, the buyers were actually in control. The point of control was like kind of like at the higher end. So what happened is price would try to retrace down, but then as soon as it retraced down, the buyers kept pushing price up higher. I'm really just looking at this black line right here. I don't care about the other colors as much. The delta a little bit, but I'm trying to see who's been like pushing price. So looking over here, the point of control was up here. There was more sellers than buyers at the high volume area. And then same with this right here. I'm looking at the current candle. The point of control is right here. The sellers are trying to push price down, but this candle has about like 10 seconds left on it. So I'm looking at this black line here. It's 30 sellers, 33 buyers. Delta is 178. I would just kind of follow this here. I would just kind of see who's in control, if the buyers or the sellers are in control. The delta, obviously the buyers are overall in control because there's more buy orders, but I'm trying to see like where the volume is coming from. So I'll keep coming and taking a look at that. But for the most part, this is I mean, this is really tricky where it's currently at right now. So Barack, your entry would have came up again right here. I mean, obviously I wouldn't have taken it, but yeah, the volatility is way too high, Barack. I wouldn't mess with any entries here. So this is your entry right here. It looks like it would have, I mean, it's still currently running. The volatility is just way too high. These candles are huge. Because the thing is, your stop loss is at 30 points. So, you know, if these candles are like 40 points or higher, it just takes one retracement for you to get stopped out. Go back to the order flow. All right, so it looks like it's starting to slow down a little bit. I wouldn't say there's really much of an offset here. There's like 18 buyers versus 13 sellers at the point of control. So this shows that there's, I mean, obviously there's a little more buyers, but they're not very, it's not one-sided. You want to see it like very one-sided, like have, you know, 10 more buyers and sellers or more 10 more sellers and buyers there to really show that, okay, there's, you know, this is where the real action is happening. So looks like we're just back in consolidation here again. The movements here are just like, it's like breakout and then consolidation and breakout and consolidation, breakout, consolidation. There's no like consistency. Okay, so looking at this right here, we do have confirmation of the buyers back in control. So we had one confirmation right here exactly on this specific candle. See how it's an engulfing and it's a double body? So this shows that the buyers are, or actually, I don't know if it's a double body. Looks like it. Close enough. Yeah. So this green candle right here is a confirmation that the buyers are in control. Obviously, the buyers are in control because you can see our price pushed up from this green bar up until here. The buyers are in control, but you want to have a confirmation or some sort of confluence indicating that the buyers are actually in control, right? This isn't just a breakout and then a fake out back down. This right here shows that price pushed up, consolidated a little bit. Then we have the confirmation right here on this candle indicating that this is a reversal pattern. So price came up, retraced down, reversed from right here, double body, and it's also engulfing. So this candle eats this red candle right here. That's two confirmations and price is now pushing up higher. So looks like the buyers are obviously in control here. I mean, I'll see if I can find any entries from this point. If you want to catch this break in structure, anybody, I mean, good luck. I wouldn't risk it, but this could be a possible break in structure. Not very strong. Let's take a look at the order flow. Nah, I wouldn't take it. Right here, you can see the buyers are barely in control. 13 and 21. You know, if we had a 30 and a 13, maybe. The buyers were kind of in control here, but I don't think it's enough to really take that leap. And the candle is kind of weak as well. The one before that, the buyers were in control by one contract, not worth it. It was even right here on the previous one. Yeah, we're probably gonna get some more consolidation around this area. I mean, we do have the confirmation of buyers being in control, but what I would look for next is I would look for either. Okay, so there's two things I would look for here. I would look for another engulfing, so another follow-up engulfing, or I would look for a V1 pattern. So we have one confirmation here. I would look for the next one. So I look for either price to push up, retrace, give me another engulfing around here, or look for a V1 variation type pattern. You might get a V1 pattern here the opposite way. Yeah, if this candle closes red, this is a V1 pattern back to the downside. So the sellers might be back in control right here. Buyers push price up. They're now starting to sell off. So this doesn't necessarily mean the sellers are in control. This just means that the buyers who made profit right here, they're starting to offload their positions, right? So price pushed up. They're like, all right, we're done with our buys. Now they're starting to sell because they want to get rid of their buys, right? So if this candle closes red, this is a reversal pattern, possible engulfing as well. And then we might see this to start to come back down further. So I'm just going based off price action. It's really just price action here. If this candle doesn't close red, then price might keep pushing up higher. And the candle did close red, so we'll just leave the red bar right there. There's two things that can happen here, so you need to wait for the confirmation. Now that we have this here starting to flip, there's one of two things that may happen. Price here will either continue dropping, or if this pushes up and invalidates this high, then it'll probably keep pushing up higher, right? But it looks like price is trying to come back down. Basically, the buyers here is trying to offload their positions, and it's now coming back down a little lower. Yeah, Sam said these huge candles are bank hedge funds. I like to go along buying with them. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for too, Sam. That's why I was looking for something here on the time and sales. These big moves, they're coming in clusters. Like they're not necessarily like there's not one person that's trying to push price. They're acting as a team. Like they're all kind of just flooding in like one contract orders consistently so that I can keep, pushing that direction. It's like a smooth push up, but let's see what happens here. All right, so let's see if this resistance turns into a support. It's basically a break and retest right there, Sam. Break and retest off that consolidation resistance. Let's go back to our SR chart. Okay, our SR chart broke past the 1 hour's resistance already. No zones up here. It's a consolidation right there. All right, so here's where price is consolidating. It's between the 44,500 and 44,450. It's such a messy market today. So let's take a look at the higher time frames again. Let's see if things here have changed. Okay, so looking over here, I'll just take off that range that we drew up earlier. Clean this up. So like I said earlier, this is the analysis I gave you guys, right? Everything here was bearish initially. 4 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute was all bearish. And this was all bearish neutral. I mentioned, if the 1 minute pushes up, everything's going to follow, right? So the 1 minute pushed up, 5 minute followed, 10-minute followed, and 30 minutes on its way back up as well. Bullish on the lower time frames. Bullish, I would say neutral. So bullish on the lower time frames, neutral on the higher time frames. The 30-minute is bullish neutral, and the 1 hour is going to follow it. So if you're looking for a trend analysis right there goes your trend analysis. Now back to our main chart. There's not much going on here. Price is still just sticking to this upper zone. Thanks, sir. And certain the tariffs are delayed for a month. Did they just release that right now? Let me check the news. Ontario cancels Starlink contract and latest Canadian tariff protests. Trump pushes Wall Street down, dollar goes up. With all this craziness happening around the world, I'm thinking about maybe swing trading some forex pairs. Like I think odd USD would be nice because the AUD is probably going to be going down and the dollar is obviously going up. Looking here to see if there's any like new news to like pay attention to. I don't really see anything there specifically. All right, so price pushed up right here. The buyers. So I wouldn't put the sellers in control here. The sellers never got in control. Looking at the buyers here, price pushed up. It just consolidated a little bit and then just now it's pushing up even higher. So looking at this here, sellers never came in control. We had this reversal pattern here. It never really held. Price kind of just went sideways and then it shot right through again. Yeah. Crazy market. The ATR is up to almost 60 now, guys. So again, like I said, I would just be careful with your entries. Each candle here is moving at least like 60 points. This candle right here moved about 134 points. This candle right next to it moved 50 points. It is pushing pretty strongly right now. Let's see, so the gap is getting filled. Let's check the queen chart. So let me mark up where the gap's at. So the gap is here. I'm gonna draw a box there. It's probably be easier. Easier to see. So yeah, price is trying to correct back up to that area. It's not there quite yet, but it is on its way. It's pretty close. It's pretty close to climbing up to that point. I mean, this could just be another trap for buyers. A lot of the catalyst here is really based off the news from this morning. The catalyst was based off the news because price kind of trapped the sellers down here. And then obviously when price pushed up, it just continued to climb. All right, so I'm gonna see how many confluences I have here for the buyers being in control. We have the buy that started pushing up right here. We have one confluence right here, engulfing double body. I think that's the only confluence we had. So the second confluence could be pretty nice. If we do get a second confluence here, it could be nice. I mean, obviously, I would like to see like a retracement signal, but I don't think that's going to happen. But realistically, from this buy here, I mean, this bullish push was a strong push, but the only confirmation I really had here for a price to retrace down was at this point. So this is basically the middle point. Price pushed up, retraced, reversal pattern back to the upside, pushed up higher, and then we'll look for that reversal pattern back to the upside again over here. Because they do move in sections, right? So like price kind of pushed up, retraced, confirmation here for the bullish push further, pushed up a little bit, and then now it's retracing again right here. Retrace, and then some sort of confirmation will happen around here. Let's see, Lamar said, hey Sean, what does ATR stand for? It's average true range. So ATR stands for average true range. It gives you the range of like how many, like right now, my average true range is set to 14, I believe. Yeah, it's set to 14. So it gives me the average range of the previous 14 candles. So going back 14 candles, if I was to measure from this candle down to here 14. So these are 14 candles right here, right? So basically from this candle up into this candle, it shows you what's the average of this movement. So the average of every candle within the past 14 is about 55 points. So that means that there's been 55-point movement. Like you can expect 55 points to move within the next candle or so. So every candle is moving this much. This is why it's tricky to take an entry if your stop loss is tight, because if the ATR is 50, like right now it's 55, right? If your stop loss is like 30 points, like what we use, right? Because this is what our TP stop loss looks like, right? 30. This becomes a problem because if you enter a position here and say you're like on the upper end of it, if it retraces back even a little bit, it could stop you out. So this is how I base my TP stop losses. If the ATR is super high, then I can just make it a little wider, right? Instead of a 30-30, we do something like a 60-60. Because at that point, if the range is 55 points, then you could survive any type of retracement that happens, right? Like if you enter a position here, yeah, price might retrace a little bit, but it won't stop you out. And then it'll climb back up. So that's kind of that's why we use the ATR, so that we can kind of adjust our TP stop loss when necessary. I think this is an outlier though. This is just for today. I think tomorrow it's not going to be as crazy because you can see here that the movement here isn't really, I mean, it's mostly a lot of consolidation if you look at it. It's like the same pattern from earlier. See how this like range consolidation kind of lasted a long time? I think this range consolidation is going to last a long time too. Let me go over here real quick. Like there's a lot of consolidation zones that kind of pop up and they just kind of sit there. So for me personally, I think the market's moving very inefficient today in a sense that we just get caught in these consolidation zones for a while. Like it's kind of like if you just, so let's just look at like for market open. Market open right here at 6:30, right? It's really hard to identify which direction you want to trade in because the sellers come in control for a little bit. Then we have some retracement over here. I mean, we could probably even take these off right here. We could just say the sellers have been in control since this area consolidated, went sideways for a bit, and then the buyers came back in control right here. And then here again, it consolidates a little bit. And then from this point, I mean, it could really go in either direction. If it wants to fill the gap is a little higher. It's, and I mean the gap from Friday. Go to the clean chart. So the gap is about, from where price is currently sitting, it's about 163 points away. About we'll just say 200. We'll just guesstimate around 200 points. So it's 200 points from filling the gap right there. The thing is, you got to put yourself in the mindset of like a lot of these other traders, right? A lot of people think this is going to fill the gap. So what do you think is happening here? They're trapping buyers because people are trying to chase the buy here because they think, okay, this has got like, X amount of points left. I'm just going to ride it to the gap. But now they're starting to push price down because they're stopping out the buyers. As soon as they stop out the buyers, they're going to lure in sellers and they're going to push price right back up to fill the gap. And then they're going to stop people out in both directions, right? So you just gotta have to like, that's how I approach the market. I try to put myself in a psychological aspect where I'm kind of putting myself in the retail trader's shoes, right? What do you think the retail trader is looking at here? I could already say it's like a good handful of people are looking for this gap to fill. And then a good handful of people are thinking, okay, the gap is done or the gap is due for retracement and they try to chase it down. That's why price here ranges so heavily because the market makers, institutions know that everybody's stop loss is going to be in the same area, right? If someone was to enter a sell right here, where's their stop loss going to be? Right there, right? And why do you think we mark this up as a liquidity target? Because that's where their stop loss is sitting. So you just got to keep that in mind, guys. Whenever you guys are analyzing the market, try to put yourself in a typical retail trader shoe. I know you're a retail trader as well, but try to think of yourself as you being the market maker, right? Just put yourself in that mindset. If I was a market maker, where would I want to push price? I would want to stop out the retail traders on this side, and I want to stop them out on this side too. So do they choose a direction or do they just stop people out on both sides? They would stop people out on both sides. They just, this range here is not super crazy. The market makers could lose a couple ticks here and there, a couple of points here and there to get the bigger picture here. Stop price down to stop these people out, grab liquidity, and then come back to this area and finish off the move. So there's a lot of different ways to approach the market. I wouldn't say to get too caught up in the theory of it, but just think of like where is price looking to go to stop people out if they needed to. For me personally, I think it's easy to get people stopped out at this point. This range right here, it's more than 100 points. All right, so I guess we will see here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I don't think I'm going to have any entries for today. In order for me to take an MPS V2, I would need to have a retracement momentum signal. So I would need a sell signal here to come up. It's not looking like we're going to get that within the next 8 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, yeah, today was just a little crazy day for us. We got a whole week ahead of us though, guys, so don't worry. If you guys didn't get anything in today, I would say just be happy that you didn't lose anything because I think it would be a lot easier to lose than to make in this type of market. Unless you got lucky and you just caught these big spikes, which I'm sure some people caught these big spikes, right? It's easy to get lucky, but it's also easier to get stopped out or to incur losses. So I mean, looking at this from here, the sellers were in control between 632, basically after the breakout, up until 720. And then from 720 up until now, the buyers have been in control. So this red bar here indicates that the sellers push price down. The green bar here over here indicates that the buyers push price back up. So basically a big push up and down for today. Here's a clean chart. Looks like the range here got moved up a little higher. Yeah, it's kind of sitting right here down the middle point. Between the 44,550 and the 44,500. All right, so there goes the consolidation. I mean, I drew this consolidation zone earlier, so it still looks like price will probably just consolidate here for a bit. See, I think this is a gamble that a lot of people get caught in, because when it gets into this consolidation, I mean, you can get lucky, but it's really tricky because it's easy to get faked out right here too. Like the problem with waiting for the break and close past the structure, like if price is to break and close past here, it could be okay, but the problem with that is if it pulls back or retraces at all, you can get stopped out very easily. I forget why I drew this black line right here. It's gonna take it off. I don't think it was of any importance. We're getting more liquidity targets right here. So again, same thing right here. Look at these liquidity targets. These are going to be areas for price to stop people out. Because people who are taking sells here, their stop loss is going to be placed right here, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Everybody knows that. They see price come down, they enter a sell here, they place their stop at the swing high. That's where the stop loss is. Vice versa, if price pushes up and they see this engulfing candle right here, where do you think people are placing their stop loss? Right there, right? So you can see here that like the psychology goes in both directions. This right here looks like it'd be a nice engulfing candle. So this might be that confirmation that we were looking for over here. So if you guys want to take this for a buy, you could probably ride it to like this liquidity target up here. Very tricky, but I can see a lot of people trying to set this up like that for a one-to-one. There's a target here. It'll probably push past the target, but then it might get caught on this upper level right here. Okay, so buyers in control, we have a engulfing right here. And this is the second engulfing confirmation that we talked about. It's too tricky though. I wouldn't want to mess with it. Like I would have taken this. So if we got this engulfing, but it broke out of this structure right here, I would have been okay with it, like riding this up a little higher. But because we're within this range, I think it's a little bit of a too tricky area to be taking some entries. Because this could easily just fake out, pull back a little bit, then push back up. I don't like taking risky entries like that. And here we are at the resistance point. Bounces directly off that resistance point. Here's the SR chart. I don't think there's any zones around here. No. Let me take a look at the order flow. Yeah, it's not showing that the buyers are like heavily in control. Got 19 contracts here for the sells at the point of control. Sellers were actually controlling that last candle. Buyers slightly. Yeah, the deltas are pretty weak here as well. Not worth the risk in my book, guys. So, all right, guys, if there's any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. 7:58 right now. We got 2 minutes till 8. There wasn't really any entries that came up today. The breakout came up. If you guys waited for that manipulation on open, then it came up and shot up through TP. Other than that, I didn't really see any scalps today. I mean, there was a couple scalps that came up over here earlier in the session. So this was the MPS V2. The problem with this here is that this was before market stabilized, so it was a little tricky, but it did come up right there and it did hit TP with no drawdown. There was another one right here that came up. This was a V1 pattern, V1 variation. Also, it came up when the market was moving a little crazy this morning. And it just continues to move a little crazy. Same with this entry right here. We have an engulfing candle. This is the second confirmation of the buyers in control. You can see here that there's not really much of a consistency. So the trade's still running, but there's not really much consistency with regards to the direction of price, because price is really just going sideways here. It's in this consolidation zone. So yeah, Samson, good one with the breakout, Sean. They're winning. Nice to see that. Yeah, I know. I'm glad to see that breakouts are winning and hitting. I'll keep documenting them. Once I see a consistency, last month was actually a good win for the breakout. So if you took the breakouts all last month, they came out profitable at the end of the month, which is a good sign. It's a good sign because the market is starting to move a little more efficiently than it was past 3 months. But I'm still not convinced that the market is as consistent as we need it to be yet. So I'm going to hold off on the breakouts. I'll keep sticking to these scalps. But again, the market here is kind of just going sideways, so there's nothing to take here. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I mean, this was a good day to sit out. If you guys can see, a lot of traps were set up. You guys can see all the structures that I drew up. Hopefully tomorrow moves a lot smoother. We have some news again pre-market. We have news at, not pre-market, we have news at open. So at 7 o'clock, we have Joel's job openings. That's going to be about it. It's forecasted to be negative. So we'll see if that becomes the case. If not, then, we'll keep looking for these buys here. But all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. You can see prices now pushing up. The analysis here is playing out pretty nice. We have the engulfing. So I do hope this comes up and hits the target. But we'll come back and take a look at this tomorrow. So, all right, guys, other than that, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow.